Ready? Yep.
Sure. So
You're on, Jeannie.
okay. Public comment. So there's no one still in the waiting room, correct?
See anyone in the waiting room?
Okay. So if someone pops up, we can jump back to it, but approve
Okay.
minutes and bills.
Yeah, did everybody look at the minutes? Get a chance to look at the minutes? We had two sets, one dated July 21st and the other one dated September 15th. Is everybody okay with those?
Yeah, I looked at them both. They both look good.
Okay,
I'm in agreement.
I'll make the motion. Accept the minutes for both.
Thank you,
I'll
Don.
second it.
Thank you, Dave. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
That's done.
perfect.
Okay.
So I was thinking, since Paul joined us, should we go over the security camera upgrade first?
Yeah, why not? If you want to do that, everybody else okay with that?
Yeah, then he can leave.
Yep, sure. Yep.
Okay, so Paul, are you there?
I am here.
I think they had a couple questions on the electrical part of the quote. They weren't sure because they thought there was already electricity in the attic of the restroom of the pavilion.
Not that I'm aware of. We put it in all the rest, the recorders and all the other buildings were up in the attic, where this one wasn't. But if we're gonna upgrade it and do it the same as the others, we would also move it up to the attic because it would be a different type of recorder. So I can't say I actually looked up there, but unless they put it up there specifically for a reason, there wasn't electricity in each building.
The one near the pavilion? Because
Yes.
remember, we went up there and we viewed from a computer, the footage.
That one was not in the attic. That one was directly in the restroom in a metal can rather than a recorder like the other book ones are.
Jeannie, do you remember climbing in the attic?
Yeah, in which one in the
The one near the pavilion.
Yeah, I remember climbing in there and I thought there was an outlet in there.
I believe there is too, but I could be wrong.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, we could go back. I can go back there and take a look. It's easy enough to take a peek. I thought that was the one out of all of them that didn't have one up there. Because when I was there last, before I sent the proposal, I thought we worked on that one, and that one did not have one up there. That's the first one we did, correct, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, so unless we changed it, I don't think the recorder was up there.
Do you think he's talking about the one down by the field hockey field?
No, I'm talking by the very first one by the playground and pavilion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but if there is one there, I mean, we wouldn't have to do that. I mean, I can take a look. Have to look at my schedule, but I can get over there and take another quick peek in there.
Okay, because I think they were confused. They thought we had electrical up there already, so I guess double check.
Okay,
Eric, could we have one of the maintenance guys go up there and just peek their head up there and look?
Yeah.
And I'm only suggesting that to save Paul having to come out to make a trip, and then we could get back to him about it.
Yeah.
yeah, if they want to look tomorrow, and if they have any questions, I can come by at the end of the day tomorrow and take a look.
I think it's gonna have to be Friday. Tomorrow the town hall is closed.
Okay,
Tomorrow's a
okay?
holiday. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I ask a question? I'm new to this, so I just have a question. Are you talking about electricity in the pavilion so that you can go up there and get to the feed?
Yeah.
Like putting the I don't know all the lingo, the computer up there now. Are you talking about upgrading that one?
Putting the recorder up above in the attic of the restroom, like we have all the other ones.
So we would have to climb in the attic like we do now to get to any of the recordings?
Correct.
I'm just wondering if there's another location that we can put it so we can access it easier. I think getting maintenance to go up in the attic is very challenging. It's not very accessible. I didn't know if there was something we could put on the outside of the building, or I'm just asking. Again, I'm new to this, so I was up there looking around trying to
Yeah, and an
figure it
easier would
out.
be great, but you'd have to have somewhere where it's secure and people aren't gonna have access to it. So I don't know if that would mean building another whole storage spot somewhere or how you would do that. It's just at least probably the easiest way to do it, but it's definitely not the easiest way to get to it every time you have to view data.
What kind of cord? Is it a USB cord or?
Well, they just put an out, in the other ones, there's not one outlet, and then we have a power strip running off of it. For power?
No, just to get the video off of it.
Yeah, it's a USB, you plug it into a USB, but then you've also got to be able to view it, you know, you have a monitor up there, so you've got to review it, find what you want, and then back it up to a USB. I mean, obviously, the easiest way would be internet access, but we've looked into that. That seems to be a big issue, getting internet over there. Then you wouldn't have, you could just do it all remotely, but that's big, you know, you don't have internet.
There is internet in the garage, so I'm new to all of this, but there is internet in the garage. There is Ethernet in the garage. There's a computer in the garage. So if we,
With internet access?
yeah, right, Kara, they have a computer up there.
They do have a computer. I didn't think there was internet on it.
There's blue Ethernet wires in the garage. I saw them this weekend.
There's Ethernet
It's data.
cameras. I don't believe you have internet anywhere in Wally Park. At least last I knew you did not.
John,
Last I knew, we didn't either unless somebody installed it. But remember, I think it was last year we had called to see if we can get internet up there, and supposedly we can't. So you think they have internet up there and they installed it?
there's blue wires up there.
Those are probably for the cameras.
Okay. It could be. Again, I don't know. I'm just,
Yeah, I don't believe you have an internet up there.
Question. So
Yeah.
that means we need to have internet to be able to sit in the garage if access to the attic is difficult. You still need internet to sit in the garage and view all the camera footage off of a computer inside the garage, correct?
No, you'd have to go to each building where there's a recorder and view them on site. You don't need internet to do it that way. Everything's recorded onto a hard drive. So you just need to go to the actual,
Right.
you can view the
But that
data.
means you still have to physically go to each camera position post or wherever it's posted and grab the stuff off of it.
Correct.
Well, I think, this is right now a temporary solution because we don't have any other choices.
I think we definitely needed it updated.
I agree.
Yeah, so the only question is, do you have an outlet up above? If not, then you need to get one.
Okay, so we need to know if there is an outlet above in the attic, right?
Yes.
Okay.
and then is there a way that we could get some kind of HDMI connection that's longer so that we're not having people climb up, that maybe they could grab it and do it from below?
Well, you need a monitor. So you've got to put the monitor somewhere or bring a monitor in each time.
Or would a laptop work? Could you connect it to a laptop and be able to, I'm just trying to think of a way that I wouldn't always have to be asking maintenance to go up and do it, that I could go up and do it and it would solve a problem, because it can be very challenging. Not that maintenance doesn't want to do it, but it's challenging every time we want to ask them to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a difficult way to do it, but you need a monitor, you need a mouse, to control it, and you need the USB to back it up. So you'd have to have all that somewhere. Right now, you've got it all in one location, all up above. So, I mean, if you wanted to put you could drop an HDMI cable down, then you'd have to plug a monitor in wherever you're doing it from. And you could probably do a USB extender to put what you're going to back up from. So if you drop those couple things down, you could probably do it. You just have to plug a monitor in every time. And you'd have those cables hanging somewhere. So you'd have to put those somewhere where people aren't going to mess around with them. I don't know if that's going to make it any easier having to, plug the monitor in every time, because you're probably not going to leave the monitor anywhere. There's no place else in there that's secure to put a monitor.
Right. So if I brought my laptop and had a USB, because I'm looking at my thing. I have USB ports that I would be able to put a USB in.
Yeah.
Would a laptop not work because it's its own computer?
Works now.
Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to eliminate maintenance having to do that because
Yep. Yeah, I understand.
it's just one more thing them being tasked with.
There's 5 board members. We don't always need maintenance to go up there to look at it. It needs to be something that gets communicated there then, where we can ask somebody on the board that can go up there. I think there's at least 4 of us that are more than capable to be able to climb up there. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt, but what else are we gonna do? So, I think it's just needs to be more communication with things. And when something happens, we get on it, we get up there, we download it onto a flash drive or whatever, and we look at it somewhere else. Is that possible to do that? You can do that?
Yeah, depending on how much you want to download, because the more you want to download, the longer it's going to take, and a bigger driver you need to download it onto.
Well, again, if it's something where an incident occurred that we need to look and it only happened 24 hours ago, then obviously we probably don't need to download that much content. But I think every situation needs to be treated in and of itself when the incident happens.
Yeah. Obviously, the ideal situation is going to be if at some point you can get internet there, then you can do everything from one location. But until that happens, there's really not much better way to do it.
So one question though would be, with this upgrade, we're going to have clearer images, because that's key. Wi-Fi, okay, we'll figure that out, but having clearer images is more important, I think.
Yeah, you're getting a much higher resolution camera. Looking at what we quoted, so we're doing 5 megapixel cameras, or what you have over there. They were done quite a while ago, so they were nowhere near that resolution. The only thing I might recommend, because another product that's come out since then, I don't know how's the lighting around that building.
Not good.
Not
Not
good.
at night.
Okay. Well, they do have a newer camera, and I have to see if there's one compatible with what we currently have there that are better for night view. It basically gives you a color picture even when it's pretty much dark. So I know most of your incidents probably happen when it's dark.
Right.
So that would be worth looking into. I can get back to you tomorrow and let you know if that's available with what you have there, or if we need to make any other changes to do that, if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah, I think we should get a quote for that too then.
Okay.
I agree. Why not?
Yep. I will check on that for you then.
Okay.
Actually, okay.
Now, this is only the cameras at the pavilion. Is anybody interested in other? Because remember the truck that knocked over the light pole? If he didn't turn himself in, we would never have been able to see the detail on those cameras. So he's quoting us right now on the pavilion restroom cameras. Should we look at upgrading all of them?
I would think so.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, most of the vandalism does happen at the pavilion, but like I said, that whole light pole incident, we wouldn't have had anything. But we could see the vehicle, but we couldn't see any detail, so we had nothing basically. We had images, but just not detail, so maybe if he could quote us on the rest of the
Yeah, let
security
me take a look
cameras.
at what we currently have there, because on some of the other ones this is the oldest one there. So some of the other ones, you might not necessarily need to upgrade the recorders. So let me
Okay.
get back in there, get a hold of somebody and just go through the buildings quickly, or see if I have any records of exactly which ones we have in there. And
Okay,
get you what we can do.
okay,
I will work on that.
all right.
What about motion lights on the buildings? Is there any motion lights on any of those buildings?
No,
I've never been up there in the dark, so.
no motion lights right now.
Okay.
Thing we should consider or no?
I mean, I just think lights are a deterrent for people if they're up there at night. I mean, that's my opinion. And then I was thinking about the bathrooms locking after like 8 o'clock at night, automatically locking somehow.
That's-
Because a lot of the damage is happening in the bathrooms and we don't know when because sometimes they don't go up there, right, to see. We don't know about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great place for kids to go.
Has there been a request for more police presence there?
I have asked them to go up to do more, and they are doing it, but it's just hard to determine when some of the vandalism in the last, 2 months, Kara, right?
Mhm.
Has been happening. Is it during because there's always seems to be some kind of an event, like, something going on at Wally Park or something at motocross or, some other event, the games that are going on. So it's hard to really pinpoint if it's happening at night or if it's happening during these events. So this weekend I went up several times and so I would know if there was any vandalism, like they were okay at 2 o'clock on Saturday. I went up again Sunday at 3 o'clock. So if there was something that went on, the time frame would be smaller. I'm not going to be able to do that all the time, but I think just trying to figure out when things are happening. And it's also November now. It's not July. So
And the last vandalism that happened was Halloween weekend. It could have been Cabbage Night,
could have been anything. Yeah, right.
What happened with that?
The sink was knocked off the wall. There was holes poked in the ceiling. The toilet paper dispenser was knocked off. The soap dispenser was knocked off. Soap gets squirted all over the floor. Was that it? Was there? I think that's
But the
pretty
same
much it.
thing as every other time?
Yeah, that which makes me wonder if it's the same people doing it because it's the same kind of activity, So,
It's possible.
yeah.
Yeah,
All
I think it's an amazing park, and I just think that the more we can kind of have security up there, the better we are. I'm not trying to deter people from using it or coming. It's just if we had lights that turned on when it was dark, or even a sign that said we're monitoring it, I think those are just deterrents for kids. They don't want to be on camera. They're, if they are kids, maybe they're college kids, who knows? But I just think deterrence might cost us less money in the long run.
Oh, what would it take to get Wi-Fi?
I don't know. That's a really good
Get a hold
question.
of, that's a Comcast or Verizon issue to get them to get you Wi-Fi up in there. I think you guys, I don't know if you've talked to them already, and they couldn't do it, or what the issue was with getting it up there.
Yeah, both
Oh,
of
they
them
could do it.
said we couldn't get it up there the last time I called, but that was probably like a year ago.
One of the things we could think about is, there's a committee that was formed in town for the high-speed internet. So that could be something that might be coming to the town. It'll probably take like another 10 years the way we're going, but that is an option.
Who deals with Comcast? To get the,
Town hall.
do we still have the studio and all that going on at the town hall?
Well, Dennis Clark was in charge of that. Channel 15, you mean?
Yeah,
So now it's Ken Stomsky. He's new. And then Jim still deals with I believe Jim still deals with Comcast.
maybe someone can talk them into running cable up there. I mean, it's real easy to do. There's no, I don't think there's any depth requirement.
That would make a difference for you guys for getting data. You better, we'd be able to get everything online and you'd be able to view them all from cell phone or back at town hall, wherever you wanted to.
Kara, don't you have the lights on an app?
So it's the field lights.
Field lights and the street lights.
Yeah,
Oh, so those are like light connected rather than Wi-Fi app connected? Okay.
Yeah, it's done
I'm
by
sorry I'm
radio.
asking so many questions.
that's fine. What'd you say, John? It's done by what?
It's done by radio waves, I believe.
Okay,
Just call them and they can instantly turn them on.
yeah.
Yeah.
I go on through their website to turn them on and off.
It's a lot less data than trying to send video. So if they're doing it over some type of radio, you're using a lot less data to do one little switch, turn something on, turn something off, compared to you needing the Wi-Fi to actually view video.
I mean, I can research Comcast again. I think it's just a random call to say, and then work your way up the chain. Because a lot's happened with COVID, so they're trying to make things more accessible. So maybe we can get a hotspot or something. I don't know, I'm throwing out words like I know what I'm talking about. I really don't.
Yeah, it'd be worth looking into if you want to check on that.
So, Kara, you're probably who I need to ask to get in and take a quick peek at what we would need to do the other upgrades. Can I get in there sometime on Monday? I mean, Friday, I know you said is available, but I'm booked out Friday. I've got some time Monday afternoon.
Yep, definitely. You can,
Right.
if you want to let me know what time, I can open well, actually, the bathrooms are still open. They're open until like 21st.
Okay,
Just the maintenance building is not. So if you need that unlocked, I can come unlock that.
and I probably can, that's gonna be the same as the others. Once I see a couple of the others, I'll be all set. So I just
Yeah.
go over anytime I can get in and see what I need
Yep.
to see.
Just the lower bathrooms, down back near the field hockey fields, that bathroom is locked, but I can have it unlocked for that day.
In all of them, because they're all the same except for the one we're already talking about, the one by the pavilions, the oldest, all the rest were done at the same time.
Okay,
So I didn't take a look at those and then get back to you on that.
okay. That
Alright.
sounds good.
I'll go there Monday.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you guys
That
all set
sounds
with
good.
me?
Thanks,
All
Paul.
right, yeah,
Thanks, Paul.
Bye.
thank you.
All right, bye-bye. Okay.
Sorry, I ask Kara questions all day long.
It's okay. Okay, so we got that security stuff. We talked about that. The other thing would be, I like Cindy's idea about the bathrooms not being opened 24/7. I don't know what you guys' opinion is on it.
That makes
Problem.
sense.
Somebody has to lock them.
Well, that is true. However, there are great new innovations of locking where I think Cindy had kind of mentioned it to me too, was where that could be controlled maybe from an app as well. It would be something we'd have to look into, but we might have to do it.
This year has been a pretty big year for vandalism, the worst yet.
Maybe we could get a price and see how much it is and see if it makes sense. And it wouldn't need to be locked until you could change it 9 o'clock during the summer and 7 o'clock in the fall and it's, again, it's just another deterrent of saving us money. I think there's ones that you can get that you don't even need an app. You can just use them like your thermostat and put in a time of when they're supposed to lock. You would have to make sure the door is shut. I mean, I would assume it's not, there's no, unless someone, like John said, physically going up there. But we could get a price and see how it works.
Yeah.
I agree. Could do something. Okay, so we talked about that. Did you have here for the fence? Was there something you wanted to discuss on a fence?
Did you want to take that one, Cindy, or you want me to?
Well, I was just, again, I'm new to this. So when we were talking about the damage to the soccer field, and Kara and I have actually spoken to, is it Peter?
Yeah, the Premier Soccer.
The Premier
Director.
Soccer coordinator. He is indicating 2 days ago that they are not going to be able to use the lit field again this spring because of the damage that was done on the field. I had gone up on Saturday and reseeded it. And then on Sunday, when I went back, it was ruined already because people are using the field. The Premier Soccer coach said he needed to use that field until November 19th. So even if we went up on November 20th and reseeded it again, it's probably not going to take until the spring. And he was pretty clear, right, Kara, that he's not going to be using the field in the spring. So that's
Yeah.
more money that we are going to lose out on.
So who's using it now?
Premier Soccer.
I
It
thought
was,
they weren't gonna use the big field this year.
they were supposed to be using, he said he was gonna be using it half the time, which I think he meant he's not gonna have his games on the weekends up there, so he found a different location for games because he said it was unplayable and dangerous. So he's been practicing on the lit field at night because it gets dark early, and the other fields, like Monday through Friday, practicing on those fields.
Okay, so he's using it, but he's not paying for it this year. Then we
Well,
have no
he's-
time to close it and seed it, so he doesn't want to use it in the spring. Basically,
Yeah,
is that what's happening?
well, he's not playing games because it's supposedly
Yeah,
you can
but he's
practice.
still using it, right?
Yep, just not for games, for
But
his
he's
games.
still using it and tearing it up, so we can't seed it.
Yeah, I think you're
Right.
doing more damage when you practice on a field than you are a game, because a game is one single game. Practice is you're doing drills and you're constantly keeping people in the same spots. And then that's how those goalie areas get worn out too. So that, I don't know my point. Well, my point was just to kind of piggyback on what Dave was saying. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We go around and round with this. What are we gonna do?
Right.
Well, I think if he's doing this and he can't use it in the spring because it's not good, then he shouldn't be using it for practicing on it too. We should shut it down completely and make sure he's just using the half field. Because it makes no sense to have him not pay us, use it and tear it up and give us no time to seed it. So
Well,
he won't use it again.
we're not gonna be able to seed it until the spring.
Right.
Yeah.
So, right.
But I
So
mean, we
my-
could have been seeding it now if he wasn't practicing on it.
Right.
And then he would be paying us for the spring.
Right. So there's also not just soccer. So when I was up there on Saturday, there was a football game going on, and that's what we want people to do. We want people to be able to use the park and enjoy the park. But there's no way of keeping them off that field. And then if cars are driving on it and creating damage, then that is a problem. So I think we should try to get a quote on a fence and just see how much it's going to be, just to not to put it around the field, but to create a barrier for cars at least to be able to go on there. And then you could put signs up that say, stay off the field, we've seeded it. I don't know. I'm disappointed that we're not going to be able to use that field in the spring like everybody else, but how much is that? Is that like $7,000 more, Kara?
So it'll be 5,500 that we'll be losing. So it's half, because he usually gives us 11,000 a season.
But
There's
he's
no
been,
reason they can't use that field.
there's what?
There's no reason they can't use that field.
You think it's because you think it's playable? Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Again,
I thought it looked playable when I was up there where they filled it with dirt. They had grass growing on it a few weeks ago where it looked like it was coming in pretty good. I wouldn't see anything wrong with playing on it compared to a lot of fields I've seen.
That's what I
Yeah.
was just gonna say, that if you travel around to soccer games, some of the fields are worse than my pastures that my cows are in.
right.
And they
And
still
also,
play on them.
yeah, the athletic director said that they couldn't play on it either, right, Carol, for their night games
Yep.
that they wanted to do?
Yeah, but those weren't filled. They were filled after like the second game. And I guess they were, the dirt was just put in there, so they didn't think it was established or it was compact enough. So that was their reasoning, and that was in September, so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
What were you looking at for a fence, like going between the two ball fields, like kind of run it through that to kind of block that area off?
Yeah, like block from that first parking lot and then over by the garage to is that the T-ball field? And that
Yes.
will at least stop cars from going on it. Again, it's not going to stop kids from jumping over the fence and playing on it, but and we don't necessarily want that, but we have to close that field down for a little while. But the fence would at least stop people from driving on those beautiful fields. I mean, they're beautiful fields. And it's a shame that there's tire tracks on there and setting up more procedures for Kara and I, and hopefully the new buildings and grounds supervisor will take over a lot of that, right, Kara?
Yeah.
Once we
Fingers
hire
crossed.
one. Just to have more eyes on the fields, I think will be a huge benefit. But we can't have people driving on there. We just can't. Especially when it's raining or, any of that. So it was just a thought. Again, I'm a thought person and I know everything costs money. So sometimes it's just writing it down and putting it on a capital plan and seeing what happens, but people have to be in agreement that it's needed first. And that's where you
Well,
guys come in.
if you can get a price on that, I mean, we meet with the finance committee in February,
Mhm.
I think. So if we have an estimate before then going in there and explain to them how much it's costing us by having people drive on it worth the cost of the fence, that might be something we'll have a shot at.
Wasn't there only one incident of people spinning their wheels on the field?
We don't know for sure. So I guess they showed up during motocross on the field. And then I think people were still using them during one of the car shows, driving across the fields, supposedly using the same tracks that were already established for motocross. So it sounds like they appeared and then we didn't know about it. For one, maintenance had never told us about it. So they were never fixed. And then when there was more events up there, people used that as a kind of driveway because the marks were already there. So it sounds like it had been happening throughout the summer.
How often do the police go through there?
I don't know. I haven't asked them that specifically. Have you, Kara? I haven't.
No. No.
You'll probably get something random out of them, like with the rail trail, like they're gonna go after every storm, but that never happens either.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
we-
mean, they're driving around all night. They might as well swing through there as part of their cycle.
Well, they can rest in there too while they're at it, John.
That would be better yet.
I
The,
agree.
the problem is that you can't see when you pull up to Wally to that field, you can't see the damage. It looks like a plush field. You really have to walk onto the field to see those tire tracks
Yeah.
because they were in it. So they would have to get out of their vehicles and look at the fields to see that damage. I mean, obviously if there's
No,
people
if
on
they
the field,
drive
then they would
through
know
or-
that.
or like Dave suggests, they do sometimes sit and rest.
Yeah.
They can do it there.
Yeah, but more police present is a deterrent, regardless of whether they're sitting in there or driving in there. More, it's a deterrent. Simple presence of them is a deterrent.
Yeah, I think we should approach them and ask them to go at least once in every hour.
I think that's a good idea. I think that would be something that we also could ask them to do more for in the summertime than maybe, now or not now, John, but maybe by the time we start to kind of close things down and the snow comes. And not so often, but definitely in the summer, ramp it up a bit.
Yeah,
And you can't tell me that they're not. I mean, it takes 5 minutes to drive through there, maximum 5 minutes. So
So what if we just get a price for the fence so we have it? Doesn't hurt to have a price. If we're upgrading the cameras, maybe looking at motion lights and putting a few signs up. Would people be agreeable to that? See how that works and then have the police go in more. Are people agreeable to that?
Yeah, anything to cut down on the vandalism.
signs don't do any good. There's no sense putting signs up. They just look bad.
Even just one on each building or no? Just being monitored?
I'll go for the motion lights. That way the cameras get a better view.
yeah,
So motion lights, no signs still? No?
I hate signs.
I know. I do
Nobody
too.
pays
I know.
any attention to them anyway.
I know. What if you put one on the sign coming in, the big, beautiful Wally sign? You're being watched. I'm just kidding. Warning.
we'll
I don't
table the
think-
signs for now.
Everything but the sign sounds good.
Yeah,
Okay. So motion lights, I think that's a big thing. If a light turns on, then
yeah, it should be, yeah. They're not gonna cost that much energy to turn on and off when the sensor is there. So it's not, we just have to figure out, there's gonna have to be some type of wiring or something that'll take place.
the
Yep.
good news is the wiring is at least on the pavilion now. So
On the
Right.
motion lights, we could actually get a solar motion light. I just put a couple in at the house and they work really well. And they're a lot brighter than the fluorescent and halogen lights were before.
Okay, that's an option.
there you go.
Once they
Yeah.
charge up during the day and they go on, you can set them to stay on between a minute and a couple of minutes at a time. And then if it shuts off and something's still there, it'll pop back on again, but it works well throughout the night. And they are super bright.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's just a deterrent of keeping people away.
And
Okay.
that way we wouldn't have to run any wires or anything. I think they were probably under $70 a light setup with the light and the solar panel.
There's no lack of electricity up there either, if you want to get the conventional LED ones.
Okay.
Do we do that?
Are we done with Wally Park?
Yeah, we'd
Are
have to
we-
look in and get quotes on that,
On
the
the
lights
lights?
and everything. Yeah.
We would have to.
I can
Okay.
get them cheap off of Amazon.
Yeah, then who installs them though?
You'd have to have an electrician do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd have to get a quote from Woodard Electrical or. Okay.
All right. So do you want to go ahead with the rail trail?
Please.
Okay, so you want to say something about the grant app, Jeannie?
I just wanted to say that I got the email for the from the state, from actually from the actual state of Massachusetts that has a fund where they do grants for the rail trails. And we did fill it out one time before, but we didn't get anything. But I did get the email and it's open starting now. And I think the deadline is February 22nd. So I just wanted to say that, do we have anything that we would like to see happen that we could ask for money for?
Can
on
you,
this grant?
can you forward it to me, Jeannie?
Yeah,
Just so I
David,
can see what it's,
Yep.
they're giving grants for. We do have the culvert thing I was gonna talk about,
yeah,
but I'll let you finish your grant stuff first. But
okay,
if you could forward me that and I'll just take a look at it to see if anything applies.
okay. And I don't know if you want to think of any other ideas. I mean, we obviously we don't have to, but it's just something that is out there and have until February to do the application. So
Yeah,
yeah,
if I can take a look through and see
Yeah.
what kind of stuff we need, because there's a few things we need done.
okay. Well, why don't you just kind of, you might as well just go roll right into it because that's pretty much all I had to say.
Okay, where we had that culvert, I forgot when it was, one of the storms there in July or August, I think, where it washed one of them out. They did clear it. It was in the auto junkyard place up on Sam West Road where everything came out of and all the sand came out of. They put in a bunch of rocks, so it shouldn't happen again, but we still have a crater on the side of the rail trail, which is a liability there. It's still fenced in with the stuff I put around it. I talked with Scott from Tynek, and we probably need 2 truckloads of rock, the bigger rock to dump in the hole just to keep it from washing out. That should definitely be done before winter. I also talked to Randy Brown last week when I was at the master plan committee, and they're not helping out at all to do any of the sidearm mower on the brush on the trail, which we need that done. So I talked to Scott at Tynek about working up a price to do that kind of stuff. Not the whole trail, but I'd like to get it so we get like a third of the trail a year. Because it was kind of a pain in the ass this year, clearing that stuff with Brooks over the summer, just with all that rain, and there's so much bittersweet and grapevine and
Yeah,
the sumac, and it's just with the rains, it just pulls it down into the trail, and it's just, that stuff's really got to be done.
Dave, why did Randy say no? Too busy?
The same reason as the last 4 times I asked him this year. Basically, he's understaffed and he got too much work. So I didn't want to go behind his back and tell Carl again, but so I figure that's something. I know we don't have a lot of money left in the budget, but I mean, it's a maintenance thing. We got to have it done. And if it comes down to it, I'll go to the finance committee and talk about it. But I mean, there was so many trees down this year, we pretty much went through the budget. I think Kara said we've got about $2,000 left in our rail
Yeah.
trail budget. Which that's not gonna cover having Tynick go and clear the sections on the trail, like even a third of the trail this year.
Now, a grant could be used for that. A
Yeah,
grant
that's what I'd like to see.
for a machine that does that. We could probably fill out something.
Yeah, I don't think we really need the machine. I think the machines are fairly expensive for that.
Right.
So I think we just more of a maintenance thing, if we could get them to do like a day or two a year on a third of the trail every year, just to keep the stuff down. And then also we have a lot of trees that are like leaning over the trail now and that are gonna end up going down sooner or later. So I'd kind of like to get a tree guy just to go down and give us a price on clearing those kind of things, just to get them out of there. So, because I mean, this past year, there was probably at least a half a dozen times where we had to get a tree guy out there to clear things.
What about the guy we used last time to clear the trees? He was pretty reasonable. Would he be able to clear the leaning trees?
Yeah, I talked to
Versus-
him about that, but I think that's gonna be, if we do the leaning trees, I think it's gonna be a little bit pricier, and I think the finance committee's gonna want a couple of bids. But I talked to Scott at Tynick about doing that also, and Ryan.
Okay,
So I think we might need 3 prices, but I just have to kind of flag the trees or mark them out and send them out there to look at them.
okay.
But I think that should really be done, because it's kind of turning into a pain in the ass with every rainstorm and going out there and doing this stuff.
Yeah. If it's under 10 grand, you don't need 3 quotes. That's
Okay,
the
so I
that's town
could-
hall policy.
Right,
I
that's
could
what I was just
probably
looking
keep, I
at.
could probably keep it under that this year and just get the worst of the things out of there.
Yeah,
Because I mean, it's not like they have to cut them down and chip them all up. I usually just have them cut them down and
yeah,
chip some of it and throw the stuff off the side of the trail.
yeah. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea though, get Tynick and Ryan so we can see the, which one's better.
We have to pay,
Yeah.
we have to pay prevailing wage.
Yeah, they both know that because they've done
Yeah.
it before. And when I talked with Scott from Tynick, he's also been going on the rail trail now and then with his own leaf blower in his own time to blow leaves off. Down by
Yeah.
the Sam West Road part and be up to Feeding Hills Road. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah, looks good.
But that's what I'd like to get done, but I'd like to go ahead and have them put the rock in that hole, because it is probably 3 to 4 feet deep, and it's like 3 inches, 4 inches off of the trail. It really should be filled in.
Is that the one at Sam West Road?
Yeah, he cleared the culvert that was filled with auto parts and sand. He cleared all that out.
Yep.
But the other side where the water washed over the road, it's still a big hole right up to the trail.
Did he say how much it was gonna be?
He said he'd probably need 2 truckloads of rock, and then he said another quote to do, if he's gonna repair that like it was, it'd be $4,500. Because he's gotta put fabric down and bring in more rock, and then basically rebuild the culvert on that side of the road, but I don't think we have to get into doing that this year. I think
So-
that I could probably put on our thing to go see the finance committee in February and get that money that way and do it next year.
Okay.
But we definitely need the rock down there this year.
How much did he say? Did you say how much the rock was?
He said it shouldn't be more than 1,000 for the rock to bring
Oh,
in,
okay.
but it's a hole and it kind of goes down a slope.
So I don't know where we draw the line between a park and rec committee of volunteers and town responsibility for property that is owned by the town. I don't know if you asked any questions about that, Dave, but
Well, that's what I want to do this year. I want to
Yeah.
talk to that, and I want to talk to the selectmen a little bit more about
yeah, I
that.
think that's definitely something that should be brought to the attention of the selectmen, because you can't be having people who have no idea what they're doing with culverts and washouts.
Yeah.
And this dude's whose body parts, whose auto parts are floating down in a culvert. That right there is a violation of environmental stuff. I mean, so we got all kinds of stuff going on with that.
Yeah, they had Randy Brown up there, and I think Dennis before everything happened.
Yeah.
But I think they basically were like, fix up your end of the stuff and let us get this done. But I think the DPW should be in charge of doing the culvert and fixing that up. That's why, but in the meantime, we got to fill the hole. It's just like, it's a hazard.
Yes, I agree. So we could get on the hole, right? And because we know about it, we're aware of it.
Yeah,
But then when it comes to this other long-term stuff that we know needs to happen, it has to go to somebody higher than us.
yeah, I want to bring it to the finance committee this year. And then
Okay.
if they say, well, that's not your responsibility, I'm like, great. But somebody's got to pay the money somewhere.
Right. Because it's inevitably, it's gonna be us asking for them for the money anyway, so it's still gonna come out of the same pocket.
Yeah, it's got to be done, but
Okay,
we shouldn't be doing it.
no, we shouldn't. I mean, to have to go get a professional contractor, out there to do that stuff. Kind of like.
Yeah.
All right, so that's definitely something that we get the prices for with the other, what you said, like the $4,500 or whatever, and then.
Well, that's to do the whole thing, but the rock, he said, should be about $1,000. But I think that's something we really got to get put in there.
So Kara, we have the money for it?
Yeah, we have $2,000. So if he wants to go ahead with just the rock part of it, we can cover that.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we should. Does anybody want to entertain a motion for that?
Sure, I'll make a motion to get the stone.
I'll second it.
Right? All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay,
Yeah,
Motion
I'll give
approved.
them a call tomorrow then and have them do that part then.
okay.
All right. So are we ready to move on?
Yes,
Okay. New business. Children's Christmas party. Cindy, do you want to talk on that? Or you want me to?
I can. So the children's Christmas party, we're combining it this year with what the Southwick Civic Fund is doing on December 11th, because that's when all the kids will be basically at town hall, and it's the craft fair. I can't remember what the name of it is. Is it the Winter Forest Vendor Craft Fair?
Yeah, the one they did last year, do you remember? We did a.
With all the trees out front?
Tree.
Yeah, with the trees and the fire pit and the vendors.
yeah,
The
And the
Civic
parade.
Fund said that they would pay for all the presents for the kids and Santa Claus, so the Park and Rec didn't have to pay for that. And we would just do crafts and popcorn. Karen and I came up with 3 crafts that we're gonna do. We'll have it in the senior center, so that way people aren't going all the way down to Park and Rec. They can just come, Santa will come through the building and just be on the main floor. Instead of going all the way through the building. I think we lose kids that way and more of the building gets trashed that way. And and the crafts and Santa will be in the senior center area. And I just heard today that Santa will arrive at 4:30 instead
Oh.
of 6:30. So
Wow.
that was good for us.
Okay.
Because I think Kara did it 2 years ago because they didn't have it last year because of COVID. And a
It
lot of
was-
stuff was going on upstairs. You guys were doing the stuff for Park and Rec. So just combining it makes sense. And if someone else is gonna pay for Santa and the presents, I think that's a win-win.
I agree. I like the idea.
Okay.
And then what do we need for volunteers?
Oh, I talked to the NHS director, Mariana Margiata. I think I demolish
I
her name
always-
every time I
I
say
do
it.
too. Yeah.
Sorry, but she has six NHS students for us. So, and Cindy and I will be there, and if anybody else from the board wants to be there, so I think we're covered.
Okay, and what time do you say be there? Like, what time are you guys gonna be there at?
What do you say, like 3:30 or
I would say
earlier?
like 3, maybe 3. Well, they just changed Santa. Like Santa was supposed to come at 6. So I
Yeah,
didn't even tell you because I didn't see you today because I was delivering sand for
yeah,
all those hours. So probably 3. And then I think the kids will run through there and be done by 6:30, 7 o'clock. I mean,
now
I
what
would say-
time does the civic fund start?
well, that craft fair starts at 4. They're going 4 to 8 or
Okay.
3:30 to 8. But I don't know if we have to be there that whole time I mean, I guess I'll stay until there's no kids, but
Yeah, no, I can too. I just wasn't
Yeah,
sure,
I
because I had
think-
originally told the NHS students 3:45 to show up.
I think that's still fine. If Santa
Okay.
doesn't come, like they don't need to be like if they get there
Okay.
at 3:45, I think that's fine.
Okay,
But I
All
think
right.
we would need to set up, which we can eat. That's easy. That's the tablecloths. That's all we need.
and crafts.
And the crafts. So that's just setting that up. That takes no time at all.
Okay,
We can do that before we leave on Friday.
okay.
That's
Perfect.
easy.
Yes, it is. Okay,
It's easy when there's a few people helping and we can drag some more people in. to help us
Yep.
Do that.
okay. You guys good on that?
Yes.
Sounds good. Will you remind us before, if we don't have a meeting before then?
What's that?
Send out a notice before, an
I
email before?
sure will.
Sounds good.
All right, capital items. I think Cindy wanted to ask you guys about some capital items for next
Well-
fiscal year.
Yeah, so how I've done budgets in the past is I put everything on a capital item. And by everything, I mean I put a couple things. Like when I did the van for the COA, it was on the capital plan for 4 years before a grant finally came available. And if I didn't have it on the capital plan, I wouldn't have my van right now because I had everything ready. So I was just thinking, and we don't have to do it tonight, but just think about things that you want to put on the capital plan, any projects. And then that leaves the finance committee to decide whether it's something they add to their list, like Dave was saying with the rocks and the redoing, or if it's something that ends up coming out of our budget. You're often told no with the capital item in the beginning, and then maybe in a year or two, they will say yes, but it just carries over.
We know
That's
that
how-
part.
Things. Yeah. But I
I
got an
think we should-
$80,000 van for nothing because a grant came available and I had all the specs and everything ready in my drawer when Carl said, you have basically 30 days to get this van. If I didn't have that, I had to update everything, but at least I had the initial prices, like for a fence, if it's $10,000 and then some grant comes available or they decide to do it because the damage is getting too much up there, then that was my thought about that.
Yeah, okay. So if there's anything you guys can think of, within the next month, let us know. That
I
we can
think you
add.
should put in an arm mower,
Okay,
and they'll never give it to us, but they might encourage the Randy to do some mowing.
Exactly.
That's a good idea.
I absolutely agree with that. I mean, I think
Yeah.
if they know, then they take the responsibility of making sure that it happens somewhere else.
It's under 200,000, so
okay,
that might motivate them to get their arm mower out there.
Wow.
Right, and you get a price and you get a quote and say this is how much it's going to be. Then you have to train somebody to drive it. Like not anyone can jump on an arm mower, I would
Oh,
think.
they're easy. They're not that bad.
Be careful, John. You can't tell them everything you're capable of doing.
Well, I have one, so I know how to drive it.
Oh,
But Patrick learned in probably 15 or 20 minutes and he was driving it.
But if the town has one, then we shouldn't have to buy one. I mean,
Yeah,
That's true.
well,
I know.
again,
Well, if they don't
motivate-
do it, then it's gotta come from somewhere.
right?
Yeah.
okay. All right, so let us know if you guys think of anything else. We'll check in with you.
I think
And then-
Wi-Fi should be at the top of the list.
Yep. And there's also some ARPA money that is coming to the town, which also includes internet access. I don't know if that would include a park or not, but we could try. I could always shoot Carl an email. Because there is ARPA money and it's very specific of what they can spend it on.
Came from the state, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I thought that there was a talk about that at one of the town meetings recently.
Yep, they're doing buildings, but does it include parks? So that's what,
Well, these are buildings on
These are buildings,
town
right?
land.
yep, I agree. Yep, I
Buildings.
agree. Yep.
Buildings. So and it's not like you're gonna be giving the password out and they can't, it's not one of those things where it's gonna be, everybody's gonna be connecting to the Wi-Fi when they're in the park. So, the thought,
Yeah, but there are parks that do have Wi-Fi with passwords so people can access. I mean, yeah.
yeah. We're not there yet.
No, I know. I know.
We're not there yet, but it would be nice.
Yep.
All right.
So my thought is if they keep seeing it over and over again, then they can't ignore it forever. I guess they can. Yes, I take that back. They can ignore it forever, but
Oh,
at least it's there.
Yep. All right, anything else? The Kev's Foundation, was that something?
Yeah, so I wanted to get approval to write a grant for that. That's getting my God, I can't even speak. The defibrillators up at Wally Park and at the beach. I talked to the fire chief and he said he would do part of the grant is that you have to train the coaches and staff that would be using the park. And I talked to the fire chief and he said that they would absorb the cost of the class and all that would need to be paid for would be the cards because they can't issue the cards. They have to get those from the Red Cross. So it'd be $30 a person. And it's not continuous. It's like a one time, if they award the grant, then you either have to do the training that day or have it scheduled. And that would be any coaches that would potentially be, coaching at Wally Park, or any staff at the beach. And I know Kara tried for the beach before and was turned down, but it's worth trying it again
By Kev's Foundation?
from
Yeah,
the
they-
Kev's Foundation.
They said that they couldn't justify having one at the beach for 8 weeks because it's only open 8 weeks versus places that can use it 365 days a year.
Oh,
This is the same foundation again?
Yeah. She's going to include Wally Park too, though. So maybe even if you don't get it for the beach, if they still can't justify 8 weeks at the beach, maybe they could at the park because that's used all year round.
isn't this foundation, isn't there just an application you go on their website and fill out? I didn't realize you had to do an actual grant.
I did the application.
Mhm.
Kev's
It's an
Foundation
application, but it also, I did print it out. It's an easy application. I just wanted permission from you to do it because part of it is training. So, and they don't pay for that piece of it. That would either be us charging the coaches, which that's a tough one, or Park and Rec would absorb whatever the cost is, how many ever people we think need to be trained. And And the fire chief said that they would absorb most of the cost other than the $30. Usually it's like $100 class to be CPR and first aid certified. So they may say no, but at least we could try. I know that recently one had been used in the Westfield one and it saved someone's life. So that was recent, like probably 2 months ago.
Okay,
Yeah, we can do that and just add $30 to their rental of the fields.
yeah, you could do
Yeah,
something.
I mean,
like that.
the chief said that he would definitely absorb the rest of the cost.
I like the idea.
Okay.
Okay,
Sounds
so I'll
good.
submit that and see what happens. And I could throw it on the capital plan to pay for one, because
They're a
I think
lot.
they're like $4,000 or $5,000 each.
Yeah, they're a lot. But somebody said something to me once before about that Wally Park should have one.
Yep.
They both should have one, but yeah.
Yep.
And then the other thing is, I mean, if you went in comparison, there's one right at, the playground at Powder Mill School. When you drive by that playground, the big blue, if you see a blue light, that's inside the playground, that's the actual device. Encapsulated, it's encapsulated in like a break once only kind of glass thing, and that's how you can use it. And they gave, and Kev's Foundation gave that to that park, or to Powder Mill, or whoever runs that park. but they
School,
gave
yeah, it was
them.
probably a school that, it's an easier ask for a school,
Yeah,
but
I think so, because that's why the foundation was kind of started, or how,
Mhm. Yeah,
or who they were curtailing their defibrillators to.
CPC funds could pay for that too.
Yeah, John, you have a good point. You have a good point. So that's something we could fall back on. If we don't get the Kev's Foundation, we could always go to CPC with it.
great.
Yep.
Do you need a vote on that, or do you want me to just? I don't think you need a vote. I could just do it.
John, do we?
Let's do it anyway.
Okay,
I'll make a motion. Fill out the, whatever Cindy has to do.
I'll second it.
okay. So the motion is for, to allow Cindy to fill out an application for Kev's Foundation for defibrillators for, Wally Park and the town beach. All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
as long as you are. Dave
Motion
and I have
approved.
already taken a position on this.
True, true. So
You
motion.
guys know who Pam Furry is?
No,
No,
Someone's trying to come into this meeting. Should I let them in, or?
we're probably 2 minutes away from a motion to adjourn, so I don't
I
know.
would say probably no. We already went through everything. We already had our public comment.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
okay. Second it? Anyone second the motion?
I'll second it then.
Okay, Dave, thank you.
You don't have many choices here.
No, we don't. Okay, so our meeting is adjourned.